students, today we are going to learn chapter 6 life processing. In different animals, they show complexity with respect to digestive systems, as we have seen that the intestine, alimentary canal, stomach, mouth, all are the part body organ for this digestive system, and from mouth some salivary glands are also associated with this, and we can find the systems in different animals. Here is that the ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation and egestion. These are the basic steps of nutrition are same in all animals. The first, we can understand that ingestion is the first step, which is the action of taking food inside. Then digestion is the process of breaking down the complex organic food into simpler substances. These simple substances are soluble, and the digestion process is done mechanically by tongue and teeth, and chemically with the help of some enzymes actively present there. The basic steps of nutrition are same in all animals, so the next step for that is absorption, the process where the soluble digested food is absorbed into the body fluids. Then assimilation. So assimilation is the process by which absorbed food is transported into tissue and cells of the body. Then these substances are further utilized for the growth and development of the organism. So we can also understand that the surplus amount is stored for the future use, for the development and some functions. So the process by which the undigested and unabsorbed residue of food are thrown out of the body. Now, how do unicellular organisms obtain their nutrition? You know, the different living organisms have different mode of obtaining food. So we can take the example of amoeba. It is a unicellular organism, is omnivorous in nature. It has its own changing characteristic of body shape, and when it gets some food, it makes finger-like projection and covered the food in it. Other than this, we can understand some tiny plants and other living beings. Now see, amoeba does not have any specialized structure or organ for the process of nutrition, So it occurs through its body structure, and you may say surface. So how it take place their food? So see, the ingestion occurs by the means of finger-like projection known as pseudopodia, and in this space, when food particles reaches the amoeba, produce this finger-like projection, you may say pseudopodia, around it, and the food is engulfed inside the body of organism to form the food vacuole. And then digestion begins inside this food vacuole. These complex food substances are broken down into simpler ones with the help of the digestive enzymes. Now the next step is absorption. The digested food is absorbed by the cytoplasm of the organism, and the assimilation occurs by the cyclic movement of the cytoplasm as shown in the picture, and the absorbed food now reaches all parts of the cell. So we can say there that here in the process of digestion of food by amoeba, how take place there. Now the egestion occurs by the rupturing of the cell membrane, and undigested food, unabsorbed food is thrown outside the body. Now in case of the paramecium, ingestion occurs with the help of cilia. We can see the image in this picture, the paramecium and microscopic image here can be seen in the form of cilia. The food particles from the water puts them in the mouth, and food particles then digested inside the food vacuoles, and undigested and unabsorbed food is egested out by the rupturing of the cell. So you can say that as the complexity of the organism increases, some of the organs of the body become specialized to perform the specific functions of the digestion. Here we can say the human beings have the specialized organ system involved with nutrition in the process of digestion of food. Now let us proceed to study it, how nutrition in human beings. So see, human digestive system in human is formed by the combination of digestive organs which work together to carry out the digestion of food. See here, alimentary canal and some digestive glands are there. In alimentary canal is a long and muscular tube of varying diameter. It extends from mouth to anus. We can see this in this picture. This alimentary canal consists of mouth and stomach, small intestine and large intestine and the anus. Some salivary glands and liver, pancreas and gastric glands and digestive glands are associated with this alimentary canal. Now the process of digestion starts from mouth. Here some saliva is created there by the salivary glands and mixed with the food we have put in mouth. So for that we have to perform the experiment. Food present in the mouth to understand this saliva. So activity such a type that first we have to dissolve 1 gram of starch powder in 100 ml of distilled water and then boil it till the powder completely dissolved and it becomes colorless solution, 1% starch solution. Then take 2 test tubes and have to label A and B. Now add 1 ml 1% starch solution in both test tubes. The licked saliva from the mouth spitting in a beaker and add some amount of distilled water to it. Then now take 1 ml of saliva and put in test tube A and shake well this test tube and then keep both test tubes undisturbed up to 30 minutes in a stand. And now add 2 drops of dilute iodine solution to both the test tubes and shake well and observe color develop in the test tube. You know, in test tube A we have added some drop of saliva but not in B. So here the color of the solution in test tube A becomes light blue or purple, which gradually becomes colorless if the starch gets completely digested. We can understand this by this equation, pictorial equation. You may say starch, polyride, saccharide, some enzymes added there and it convert into smaller sugar, you say maltose, and again some enzymes they also produce this glucose. So process happening there in this way and the color in the solution, you may say in the test tube B, remains dark blue or purple because the starch in the test tube remains undigested. And it will be dark blue or purple because in this test tube starch remains undigested and that's why it shows the color on reaching with iodine solution. So from this activity, we can conclude that saliva added to the test tube A digests the starch, which is a polysaccharide. So, because of the digestion, the starch is broken down to smaller sugar units gradually, first maltose and then glucose. In test tube B, there is no saliva and hence remains as it is. You may say starch remains as it is. We have collected saliva from the mouth, which is the first part of alimentary canal. This activity confirms that the digestion process begins in the mouth. With the digestion of starch, the saliva and salivary enzymes called amylase. Now, let us understand how the process of digestion proceeds within the alimentary canal. Then, for that, see first the mouth. From mouth, the alimentary canal begins. We know the food, what we eat, is the various kinds. Some foods are plant origin and some are of animal origin. Thus, variety of food has to pass through the same digestive tract, and the alimentary canal has a soft lining, lining, hence the food needs to be proceed to that it becomes particulate, smaller in size and can easily pass through the alimentary canal. Here, the teeth present in the mouth break the food into smaller pieces and chew and grind it, and then it mixes the saliva and becomes soft. You may say the crushed food becomes soft when it gets mixed with the saliva secreted from the salivary glands and goes to the stomach through the food pipe. So here you also see that the soft food can now pass easily through the alimentary canal. So you see the food we eat is of a complex nature. But here some biological catalyst or some enzymes help the food in converting the complex molecules into simpler ones. The enzyme, you may say amylase, is present in the saliva. So keep in mind, 1 marks questions may be asked there. Which enzyme is present in saliva? You have to say amylase. So this salivary amylase break down starch into simple sugar, maltose, and this is the beginning of the digestion process. Now see the question raised in our mind that See, if some food particles remains stuck between the teeth and the teeth is not properly clean, see, so what will happen if it is not properly clean? So it leads to dental caries or teeth decay. You may say teeth going to be damaged. And teeth decay is a gradual softening of this enamel and dentine on teeth. You know, some bacteria, they attack here on this food material in between the teeth, which is not thoroughly clean. You know, bacteria acts on sugar present in the food remains and produce acid there. Since this demineralize the enamels and create some damages, so you can say that the bacterial cells together with the food particles stick on the teeth to form this dental plaque. And this dental plaque has covered the teeth. Saliva cannot reach to the tooth surface to neutralize the acid which is created during the digestion, and for that we have to brush them. It means brushing the teeth after cleaning, after eating, it removes the plaque before bacteria produce acids. If untreated, microorganisms may invade the pulp, causing inflammation and infection in the mouth. So it is necessary to clean properly the teeth and prevent the decay of the teeth. As we know, the teeth plays important role in the process of digestion, and it crushing the food into smaller pieces to facilitate their movement through the alimentary canal. Now, stomach. The partly digested food is then pushed into the esophagus, you may say esophagus, with the help of the tongue. Esophagus is a narrow tube which leads to a J-shaped bag, you may say stomach. The stomach is placed on the left side in the abdominal cavity. The food is pushed forward in the food pipe or the canal due to the rhythmic contraction and relaxation of the muscles of the canal. We can see here in this picture that this muscular activity is called a peristalsis. You may say peristalsis or peristaltic movement. Due to the peristaltic movement, in esophagus food is moved, you may say pushed into the stomach. And here, you know, some gastric glands present in the wall of the stomach release some gastric juices. This gastric juice contain hydrochloric acid, enzyme, pepsin and mucus. This hydrochloric acid creates some acidic condition which is necessary for enzyme activity. At the same time, this acid kills the bacteria which are harmful. They present in stomach. The enzyme pepsin digests the proteins and mucus protects the inner lining of the stomach from the action of acid. And we have seen there some people complaining about acidity problems due to this acidic condition. So let us understand the cause of acidity in stomach. When we hear the people complaining about this acidity, the problem is related to secretion of HCl, it means hydrochloric acid in the stomach. You know, when we are hungry, so acid is secreted and we respond to the feeling of hunger by eating some food. It means when we become hungry, so this hydrochloric acid is secreted there and it creates our desire for food. You may say it responds to the feeling of the hunger by eating food. So, however, we can say that if we do not consume food at that time, then there is no food for HCl to act upon, and as a result, the acid gets accumulated there, and this acid is accumulated there. So due to the presence of this acid, we feel a burning sensation in the stomach. Now, when we take food, you may say while the food is in the stomach, the muscular walls of the stomach churn the food. And in this way, churning of food helps in proper mixing of the food with the gastric juices. And we know there are some muscular sphincters situated at the beginning of the stomach and also end of the stomach. These sphincter muscles release small amount of partly digested food into the small intestine. Now, small intestine. The small intestine is the longest part of the alimentary canal. It is about 5 to 6 meters in length, and it is also filled into a compact space by extensive coiling. It is longer than the large intestine. Here see large intestine and small intestine. Small intestine is called small small because it is narrow and comparatively